Welcome to the Medical Ancillary Sales Podcast, your number one source for making money in the medical ancillary sector. Mike and Viv bring you the latest information from lab services, pharmacy, diagnostic testing, and so much more. The latest in ancillary services will be right around the corner. Welcoming the hosts of the Medical Ancillary Sales Podcast, here's Mike and Viv.
Hello and welcome to the Medical Ancillary Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Bird, and joined as always by Viv Hudson. Viv, how are you?
I'm great, thanks, Mike. And today we've got another special guest, so we don't have to talk to each other today. Would you like to introduce them?
Yeah, we certainly do enough of that, don't we? Yes, our guest today is Chris Casari. Chris is the VP of Sales for Rexall Pharmacy, and he has a great compounding solution for your physicians. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Michael, and Vivian, thank you for having me also.
So, Chris, can you tell us, I'm sure most people listening to this have no idea who Rexall is. Can you give us a background?
Yes, definitely. First, we are Essential Rexall Drugs. We are a fully licensed compounding pharmacy. The pharmacy itself has been in existence for over 118 years. Now, of course, I haven't been there that long, but it's the fourth generation owned by the same family. We are licensed, or our pharmacy is licensed in all 50 states, so we can fill any prescription in all 50 states in the United States. There are a number of representatives at our pharmacy that can go ahead and help you or your team. We have customer service representatives, patient advocates, of course, myself, VP of Sales. We have a chief compliance officer, and all these individuals within our pharmacy also maintain close relationships with your prescribers and the staff and the patients at all times.
Chris, I got to be honest, I missed the wave. I missed the whole compounding wave. I hear all these stories. I was dealing with different call points. This was not an option for me to sell compounds, and I heard all these great stories about all the tremendous commissions and things that people made. And then I heard, well, that went down the toilet, and now there's no money to be made in compounds. Can you just kind of level set for us and help me understand, and everyone listening, what's going on in the compounding space? Is there any revenue? Is there any money to be made in this space?
You know, Michael, thank you very much. That's a great question. I hear that every day. I talk to representatives and distributors out in the field. First of all, yes, it's being level set as we speak. As we talked about, 4 or 5 years ago, even last year, there's a lot of money to be made in compounding in the compounding world. But as I stated earlier, it is level setting itself. Not to say that money cannot be made, which it can be made in the compounding industry. But as we know now, as we've read in the papers in these last few weeks, few months, TRICARE, some of the PBMs have basically done a 180 and turned off the compounding realm compounding industry to their constituents. But Essential Rexall Drugs, we're always looking for different alternatives. Not to say that these PBMs do not cover compounds, because some of them still do. We do have alternatives if a compound is not covered to get to those patients in the need of some sort of relief for whatever symptoms they are having. So just to summarize what I've just talked about, compoundings are still being covered to a certain extent, but there are also other alternatives if the compound isn't covered that we can get to those patients to relieve their symptoms.
So where is this available? Is this something that is available nationwide? Can you fill scripts in any state?
Yes, we are, as I stated, we are licensed in all 50 states in the United States. We can fill prescriptions in any state within the union, I guess is the best way to put it. So if a script comes in from North Carolina, we can fill it here. Our main office is here in Louisiana, in Hammond, Louisiana. So we will get that prescription in Louisiana, and we will ship it out to any state within the United States.
So, Chris, What are the best call points for this particular solution? So is it internal medicine, cardiology, or is it everyone?
It's really everybody that you can think of. If you see a door that has a physician name on it or MD behind it, you can really go into those offices. Now, we do specialize in pain and scar and wound, but we also have script pads, and we've also filled prescriptions for a number of formulations and compounding in the compounding world, for dermatology, for dental, for OBGYNs, for ENTs, for just metabolic supplements to a general wellness, internal medicine, family practice. So you kind of think of all the call points within the industry. We have a solution or a formulation for those call points. So really, any door that you see with MD behind it or MD on it, you can open that door and there is something that we can sell or that you can sell that we can fill with through Central Rexall drugs in the compound.
Why would a doctor use Rexall? Why would they not just send their patients down to Walgreens?
Well, as you know, compounding in the compounding industry or a compounding drug is specialized for that individual. So when we do receive a prescription, we look at the formulation which is specialized for that individual. So it's basically not mass produced. It's specifically for that individual, which goes into our compounding pharmacy, into our lab. We take all the ingredients in that formulation, put it into the compound, and then ship it out to that individual. So it is specialized for that individual each and every time we make a formulation or a compound.
So is there any, who makes money out of this particular solution? Does the physician?
Well, the physician does not make money off the solution because, as you know, paying a physician for any type of reimbursement or anything is illegal, right? So who makes money, of course, is the pharmacy is going to make money. Then, of course, the representative could make money. Depends on how it's structured. So it's just like a general prescription going through any type of retail pharmacy. The retail pharmacy is going to make money off those prescriptions. And the PBM, of course, is going to make money off those prescriptions also.
Right. So the real benefit is that the physician is delivering more tailored medication to their patient. So that's the benefit from their angle, plus the patient's avoiding that wait time going down to Walgreens or wherever.
You're exactly right, Vivian. It's specialized and tailored to that individual patient. And also, when the prescription comes to us, we do have a chance for that patient, if the patient would like, to call one of our pharmacists on staff, and they can have a consultation with that pharmacist to talk a little bit about the formulation, about any side effects, anything that comes up within that formulation or that script for that patient. So there's always that opportunity also. So there's a lot of one-on-one conversation and time with that patient.
Right. So as far as a practice is concerned, so I'm a sales rep, I'm going into a doctor's office. How am I going to lead into this conversation with the physician?
Yeah, well, first thing you should always do is make them aware of where they're sending the prescription to. Give them a little background on the pharmacy so they're familiar with the pharmacy itself. As you know, everybody's familiar with Walgreens, Rite Aid, CVS, whatever pharmacy they might be sending it to, but they might not be familiar with Central Rexall drugs. So let them know a little bit of background about Central Rexall drugs and how long we've been in business and how they can communicate with our pharmacists if need be. Second of all, you always want to ask the individual or the physician in charge, do they have are they seeing these types of patients? Are they treating these patients that need individualized compounded medications? Third, you want to talk a little bit about, are they on other type of supplements or any type of other medications, like in the pill form, for example, that they can become addicted to or they need to get off, because a lot of compounded medications are not pill form. They're actually in some sort of cream or base, which are not habit forming for those patients. So a lot of doctors do like that also. So the last thing you really want to talk about is the reason to change, because as we all know, physicians don't change habits, or people in general don't change their habits unless there's a reason to change. So if you talk about all the things I previously talked about, it really gives them a reason to change their practice habits and start writing for central Rexall drugs and sending those prescriptions to us that are formulated specifically for those individuals.
And are there still
Right.
are there
Sorry,
still good
go.
reimbursements on this? Sorry to talk over you there, Viv. Chris, are there still there's still good reimbursements you're saying on these single agent topicals and compounds?
Yeah, there's always outliers, of course, and PBMs and your insurances have a lot to do with it. So, as I stated earlier, a number of PBMs can reimburse differently from another PBM. So, Express Scripts might reimburse differently from CVS Caremark, for example. It really depends on that person's specific insurance coverage and their employer groups. So there's still money to be made, and there's great reimbursements in it. Of course, not like we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years, but there's still money to be made in the industry, of course.
So some of the challenges that we find is that sometimes you get a doctor to agree with a solution. So what are some of the challenges in getting a practice up and running sometimes that you would see?
Some of the challenges that I see right now in the industry is, again, they're not familiar with where they're sending the prescriptions to. So it's always important to make them familiar, because if they're not familiar with it, they don't know what kind of service they're going to receive from the pharmacy itself, right? So you want to make sure that they're familiar with the pharmacy, familiar with the services that we do provide to their patients and their practices, of course. And the third thing is just letting them know that we are here to answer any of their questions at any time. Typically, just to let you know, it takes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours once we receive that prescription to get it out the door to the patient. So setting expectations right up front with the physician and letting them know that it does take a little time rather than walking down to a Walgreens pharmacy and picking it up. But of course, these are specialized, individual, tailored prescriptions that we are making, formulas that we're making for the patients. So it does take a little extra time to formulate these and send them out. Anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to get it out of our door to the patient's front door.
Well, Chris, this is great information. I didn't realize there was such a good opportunity in this market, so I'm excited about it. I think a lot of people listening to this will be excited about it and would love to present this to the physicians that they have relationships with. So I want to thank you for getting on.
Definitely. If you need anything, I'm here to answer any questions. Again, any door with the MD on it, you can knock on it, walk in there and kind of talk about what we have to offer or what you have to offer them. And one last thing, we have a number of different script pads with multiple formulations on it. Again, dermatology, any type of specialty, dental, OBGYN, they're tailored just for these individuals or their call point that you're calling on that we can share with those physicians. So you can also take it in, show it to them, kind of, let them see the formulations and what they're used for. For instance, we have magic mouthwashes for dental. There's a number of different things that physicians look at and say, well, I wasn't familiar with that. Please tell me a little bit more about it. So we can offer that to those physicians.
Great. Thank you, Chris. And if you want to reach us, email us at ancillarypodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.